So what is an IT asset management? It is the purpose of the IT asset management practice is to plan and manage the full life cycle of all IT assets to help the organization. So IT asset management or ITAM is also a process that ensures the organization's asset by simply making the valuable items or informations are being used and tracked. ITAM also uses financial, contractual, and inventory data to make a strategy decisions about their assets or the IT assets. So what is an IT assets? It is an information that an organization using for their business activities. By the full life cycle, those are the maximum value, control cost, manage cost, supporting decision making about the purchase, reuse, and lastly, the meet regulatory and contractual requirements. Some other topics will be discussed by my group mates.
Maximize value. The value maximization aims to maximize the firm's value when a decision is made, whether it is an investment decision, financing decision, dividend payment decision, or hedging decision. The finance literature argues that managers should seek to increase the value of the firm. In other words, the primary goal should be to maximize the value created, which is equal to the net present value of the incremental cash flows generated by the management decisions taken. Maximize value as simply as maximizing the value of a certain product, services, or firm. The goal of this maximize value is to increase or maximize the profit. Goals to achieve maximum value. Number 1, develop a strong, stable management team. Business with a strong management team allowing for key activities to operate independent of the owner will command a higher price. The depth and stability of the management team are extremely important factors in the valuation analysis by a buyer. 2, demonstrate sustainability of earnings. Fluctuations in revenue typically indicate that either product demand may be subject to outside factors, or the business has experienced problems, or indicating management is not stable. Number 3, solid reputation in the marketplace. Business acquirers are constantly searching for the leading business in the industry, and many sellers refer to their business as an industry leader. 4, transition planning. The process of developing this transition plan will often generate excellent suggestions for improvement in management's roles in the everyday operations of the business. And last, 5, stable facility of operations. A business may or may not be dependent upon its location, but a buyer will not to take the risk moving the business right after the purchase. The business should have the right to remain in their current facility for at least 3 to 5 years through an existing lease or ownership of the building. Cost control. Cost control is the method of reducing business expenses by managing and analyzing financial data. Collecting costs in a consolidated format allows organizations to make more accurate and informed projections, know where they can minimize costs, and identify areas of overspending. Maximizing interactions with vendors can result in considerable cost savings for your company. Cost control and vendor management frequently go hand in hand. You may try to speed up contract renegotiations to lock in advantageous prices, attempt to develop long-lasting relationships with vendors and clients, and forge alliances that benefit both organizations. Having a suitable budget in place has a direct impact on important decisions like who to hire as new staff, what feature to include, and how much time should be spent on each task. In essence, A well-maintained budget that adheres to an organization's business principle can show you where the project is headed and how it will turn out. In this instance, a project's performance and budgeting are close related. Cost control, from the word itself, cost control, it is a process or method to reduce expenses to increase profit. It starts with budgeting process. It is an important factor in maintaining and growing profits in the company.
So, good day everyone. So, my name is Benjoy Lopez and I'm about to report another purpose of the IT asset management. So, come to number one, or come to the continuation of the list. Manage risk. IT asset can manage or figure out how to cope up with the risk that can be faced by the company. So, of course, we are talking about company, and because of that, to start a company, of course, risk is always involved because it involves money. So, ano nga ba ang ginagawa nating mga IT sa pagmamanage ng risk? So, yes, sa pagtatayo ng business, risk is inevitable. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo siya totally maiiwasan or matatanggal sa system. May risk at may risk na mapupunta dyan. So, risk management, bakit tayong mga IT or IT assets are are able to manage risk? Because may mga tools tayo na pwede tayong tulungan sa first is to avoid, number two is kung hindi ma-avoid, may contingency plan, and number three is kung paano ma-contain yung risk na iyon. So, next tayo, support decision making. So, bakit decision making? So, IT assets can help out to decide which options are the best to pick. So, of course, we IT, marami na tayong data na na-store within the company. Nandito yung mga previous projects, previous spending money, previous and ongoing many more projects. So, yun. And because of that, madali lang tayong maka-come up na mga sagot na kung saan sasagot sa tanong na ano magandang gawin. And because of that, doon natin matutulungan ng isang company na mag-move forward at the same times mas lalo pang umangat. So, yun lang.
Next is regulatory and contractual requirements. First is regulatory. Regulatory are obligations required by the law of a specific country and organization need to abide. This means that it's mandatory criteria to meet for an organization. Also, the law differs from each country, so an organization must be flexible to accommodate laws to operate and branch out on other countries. Next is contractual requirements. So, contractual requirements are legal contracts between private parties, which they all agreed to abide. An example is an organization providing cybersecurity for another organization. But if the employing organization failed to abide by the contract, their organization can also stop providing cybersecurity for them.
IT asset. Before we go to the main topic, what first is an asset? So an asset are things we earn like cars, computers, investment, and cash. Another great example are land, furniture, building, equipment, and vehicles. So these are both beneficial for an individual and the company. So there are two types of asset, the tangible and intangible. So intangible, an asset that has physical substance. So it can be touched by an individual, and examples of that are inventory, building, machinery, and equipment that can be used by the individual to execute his or her work. In intangible, an asset that is not physical in nature. So, an individual cannot touch this, and great examples of this are patents, trademarks, and copyrights. So, let's go to the main topic. So, an asset is a resource with economic value that an individual, corporation, or country owns or control with the expectation that it will provide a future benefit. So, individuals, corporations, countries, as expect assets they own to provide economic benefits now and in the future. So, another type of asset is fixed asset. These are resources with an expected life or greater than a year, such as plants, equipment, and buildings. So, these assets are far more important and has greater life that the individual use for the company's requirements. So, once the company once the individual have finished his work, the company itself will generate cash flow that can be used to satisfy the individual needs. Examples of that are cash, profit, and investment that they can use those assets to satisfy themselves. That's all. Thank you.
So, hello guys, I'm Dominic M. Arevalo and I'm your next reporter for today. So, my topic is about the scope of IT asset management. IT asset management has different scope. This includes software, hardware, networking, cloud services, clients' devices, and in some cases, it also may include non-IT assets such as buildings or information where having a financial value and are required to deliver an IT service. So first, let's talk about the software. So when we talk about software in IT asset management, it typically talks about licensing agreements. So IT asset management processes for software allow organizations to monitor their compliance status with the end user licensing agreements that allow them to use licensed software applications. So the next one is the hardware. To ensure that the hardware is well maintained, organizations must keep track of what assets they own, where those assets are deployed within their organization, how they are used, how frequently they are used, their repair status, life cycle information, and when they need to be replaced or disposed of. So the next one is networking. So when we talk about networking in IT asset management, so it typically talks about how the computers are interconnected with each other. So the next one is cloud services. When this refers to the practice of tracking and managing any resource that can or does contribute to the delivery of cloud services. For example, this includes virtual or physical storage, virtual or physical servers, software licenses, and staff knowledge that may not yet be documented. Client devices, on the other hand, uh, it means allowing the organizations to monitor any input technology that allows the organizations to access the product, including but not limited to workstation, a personal computer, a PDA device, cellular phone, tablet, laptop, or other device that is operated by an individual. So this is where my report ends. Thank you for listening.
IT asset management help to optimize the use of valuable resources. Tulungan ka rin nito kung saan mo pwede mo allocate yung mga resources mo. Sample na lang isa company kung paano nila in-allocate yung mga computers nila. Siyempre, based yun sa number of employees mo na kailangan ng computer. Tsaka, yung mga system requirement ng mga computer nila, siyempre, based yun kung ano at gaano karami yung software na ginagamit nila.